Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how I built my ground level deck, but before I do, just a quick word of caution. Even though building a deck is kind of a rite of passage for a DIYer, please make sure you do your homework on the requirements and the regulations on building one in your climate. Considerations should be made for soil type as well as the weather in building an outdoor structure that can safely be enjoyed season after season. With that being said, let's get building. When I built this corner pergola a little over a year ago, I knew I eventually wanted to build some sort of patio underneath, but wasn't quite sure which direction to go at the time. Eventually, I did decide on a floating deck to match the pergola, which would also elevate the area slightly to help keep rocks and other debris off. The general plan of attack here was to construct the rim of the support structure first, and then fit the joist in and level it out as we went. Typically for a floating deck you would start by leveling the ground and then build up from there, but building under an already existing structure presented a unique situation. I didn't want to lose too much headroom as the pergola is only 8 feet tall, nor did I want to make the deck too far off the ground for my kids to safely step on and off. Unfortunately, this meant digging out a good amount of dirt, but instead of digging out the whole area, I chose just to dig out where the rim and the joist would sit. Since we knew the pergola itself was level, we used the bottoms of the posts as a leveling guide for the rim. The completed rim gave us a literal frame of reference to work within, and as long as it was kept level, the completed deck would be as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a length of 2x6 long enough to cover the front portion of the rim, so I used 2 boards connected with a miter joint and some blocking to secure the connection. Since the joists perform all of the load-bearing work, they need to be supported by some sort of footer. We chose to use concrete deck blocks at the back, front, and sides as they have slots to keep the joists in place. This should help prevent any shifting over time. Everywhere else we used 4-inch thick blocks. Our soil here is essentially ready-made paver base, so if you live in an area with softer soil, make sure to use gravel, limestone screening, or some other appropriate base under them. I spaced the joists out at 16 inches on center, which is appropriate for the 5/4 pine decking I planned on using for the top. Keep in mind, if you're thinking about composite decking, some brands do require a maximum of 12-inch spacing for the joists. I also added some blocking as I went to keep the joists from bowing. Areas like this post should be reinforced, especially if it interferes with a joist span. For the top, I did a picture frame border to give the front a nice seamless appearance. I was initially planning on using lengths of decking that spanned all the way across, but because of the lumber shortage, I was only able to get my hands on 8-foot lengths. Because of this, I chose an approach that was more like laying flooring than decking. I was initially worried about having so many butt joints, but it has not ended up being a problem so far, and I will of course provide updates over time. Also, when laying these, I used no spacing between the boards as they were still soaking wet from the treatment process. Wet boards will shrink as they dry, so if yours are already dry, make sure to use a spacer between them to allow for water to drain through. Once the deck was dry, I gave it a good sand, making sure to flush up any uneven joints. After a coat of stain, it was time to cozy it up a little. Thanks for watching this video. If you're interested in the full pergola build, I've included an on-screen link for that. And be sure to check back for more builds soon.